Hey everybody, cast member Alyssa here with cast member Emily, and we're the group Robert Iger. So we're outside of Snow White's cottage right now where her and the seven dwarves reside, in case you don't remember. And so you can refer back to the wiki page that we talked about Robert Iger, but Emily's going to sum it up for you. So Emily, tell us more about that.
We discussed on our wiki page Robert Iger's personality, his values, and his approach to motivation. We determined that he was introverted, a thinker, a sensor, emotionally stable, but not necessarily open to new experiences. He values a company that is environmentally friendly, and he appreciates every opportunity he gets to communicate with his employees. And lastly, his whistle while you work approach to motivation ultimately empowers his employees to get their tasks done.
Now we're going to take you inside the wonderful world of Robert Iger. Now we talked about the things that you can see on the outside, but now we're going to talk about more on the inside, like the ethics or the organizational culture. Or what does Robert Iger really believe in? We talked about his values, but how does that really affect the company as a whole? So let's go inside and see.
Welcome to Snow White's cottage, where we have our leadership room, our ethics room, and our organizational culture room. First, we're going to start with leadership. Let's go.
So Brian, how do you feel about this?
How nice of you to ask my opinion.
You're
I think
welcome.
it's an excellent idea.
Really? How do you feel about it, Zach?
Yeah, I was thinking
As we just saw cast members Alyssa, Brian, and Zach do a role play, Alyssa was impersonating Robert Iger and his leadership style. So as referencing to the organization and behavioral textbook, there's multiple types of leadership styles, one of which is an autocratic leader and one is a democratic leader. The textbook states that an autocratic leader is more hands-on approach and gives less voice to the employees and tries to control every aspect of the company. This is reflected in Disney's previous CEO, Michael Eisner, who Iger took over for. Eisner had a very strong pull on everything in the company and didn't give his cast members an ability to have a pull or a weight or a voice in the company. However, Iger displays more of a democratic leadership style, and also referring to the organizational and behavior textbook, the leadership style is more giving a voice to the people, he's still the ultimate authority of the company, but he allows people, as you saw in the role play, to have a voice, to have opinions, and he takes their feedback and applies it to creating a more effective, efficient, and better company as a whole.
I'm going to tell you how he is also a transformational leader, which invokes inspiration and excitement towards followers so they have a high level of performance. And this has obviously worked in his favor because Disney has many accomplishments, such as Disney in China and the acquirement of Pixar and Mattel. And with all these new accomplishments and excitement, it's no wonder employees want to be so involved in all the hype and success of Disney.
Democratic leader as well as a transformational leader. These play into Iger's role as a participating leader. Iger takes on a participating leadership style because he wants employees to be involved in the decision-making process and innovation of ideas, as we saw earlier in the role play. He empowers teamwork and allows teams to be self-managed. According to the situational leadership model, Robert Iger embodies the style, which encompasses followers who are able and willing to perform a task. He also never slams anyone's ideas, which encourages employees to consistently bring new ideas to the table and strengthens relationships.
Now that we've seen the leadership of the company and Iger's leadership styles, let's go see the ethics of the company. You better keep up.
The code of ethics itself is found on Disney's website and is available to read by all users, employees, executives, etc. It talks about human resources, business standards, ethic training, hiring practices, harassment prevention, and discrimination policies. It is Disney's policy to provide equal opportunity for all employees and applicants for employment without regard to race, religion, color, sex, sexual orientation, national origin, age, marital status, covered veteran status, mental or physical disability, pregnancy, or any other basis prohibited by state or federal law. What was just read was providing equal opportunities for the employees at the workplace. This is important and clearly demonstrates the seriousness that Disney takes to display a code of ethics, and work to create equal opportunities for all employees.
Now let's talk about the ethics of Disney and its culture. A big portion of the ethics is Iger's response to the call to serve. This is in reference to our servant leadership article that we read in class. The article gave us 10 characteristics of a servant leader. The first one is empathy. This is demonstrated when Iger works on the optimism of the company, understanding the more optimism there is, the more the customers are satisfied, as well as the employees during their work. A second example is healing. Iger responded to the death of Steve Jobs in a manner that was soothing to the Apple Corporation as well as Disney. He focused on Steve's contributions to Disney as opposed to his sadness in his passing. The last characteristic that he has demonstrated is building community. He builds communities not only within the company, but with Steve Jobs as well. Now that we've talked about the leadership style of Robert Iger and the ethics of the company, let's talk about the organizational culture of Disney and how Robert Iger contributes to that.
And now we're taking you into the cultural organization of Disney as a whole. There's 3 different aspects of a company's culture, which are the artifacts, or what you can see on the outside, the values, which goes a little bit deeper into the company, and then the basic assumptions, which is what you experience when you're actually a part of the company, but it's really hard to put into words. First, though, we're going to talk about the artifacts and the visible things you can see around Disney, and also Iger's approach to showing visible artifacts throughout the company as a whole. The most well-known symbol of Disney is Mickey Mouse. We have an example of Mickey Mouse here. He comes all the way from Belgium, and so that just displays that this artifact or symbol of the Disney culture as a whole is all over the world, not only in the United States, but Europe, China, everywhere you go. If you see this mouse, you know it's Disney. And that's a reflection on the company's ability to have weight and power in the entire world culture and as a whole. Let's talk a little bit more about the artifacts of the company and the culture that it creates through the effects of storytelling, which is also a value of the company. When you go to Disney's career website, you can search employees by their location, what segment of Disney they work for, and what specific job title they hold. This is in the Explore Our Stories section on the Disney Careers website. And it gives a variety of options. Example would be, let's just say you look up business, and then you look up accounting and finance. You get 7 stories of specific accounts that people have had of working for the company and their real life interactions with the company and the culture of Disney. This shows that Iger strongly holds to the storytelling by keeping this on the Disney Career website. Directly from the website regarding the organizational culture is the statement. Each of our companies has a unique ability to harness the imagination in a way that inspires others, improves lives across the world, and brings hope, laughter, and smiles to those who need it most. Together as one team, we embrace the values that make the Walt Disney Company an extraordinary place to work.
As we all know, a part of the organization culture is the values. And for Disney, these values are reflecting in their green efforts. For Disney's Friends for Change, the Project Green, Disney Channel, Disney.com, and the Radio Disney empower the kids to take more than 3 million pledges to eliminate 52 million pounds of carbon emissions, recycle 8 million pounds of trash, and save more than 1.5 billion gallons of water annually. And besides that, for Disney's Nature's Earth, Disney planted 1 tree in honor of every moviegoer who saw Earth in the first week of release, adding nearly 3 million trees to Brazil's Atlantic forests.
One of the things that Disney values most as part of the organizational culture is its innovation. Robert Iger truly demonstrates the innovation through an art that's represented in an article by Culture Change. For example, when Robert Iger took over Disney, To show his commitment to the innovation of the company as a whole, he personally became involved in the game creation and attended summits of developers and gave feedback to programmers about the games. This clearly shows that Robert Iger not only wants to get involved with the executive approach of the company, but also innovating the company to bring it to new levels that the company hasn't reached before.
Another example of Disney's values is the high standard of excellence they expect from all employees. In a New York Times article interview, Iger tells us about his morning routine. Each morning, he wakes up at 4:30 as part of his daily routine to take his quiet time as well as recharge his batteries to prepare for the day. This is one example demonstrating Iger's high standard of excellence by starting his day off in the way he needs in order to perform to the best of his abilities.
Part of the corporation's values is its community that it strives to create. This is part of also what would be considered a basic assumption of the company. From the New York Times article interview with Iger, he stated, when you meet people face to face, you've got to project an accessibility, that you can go on an elevator and actually have a conversation with someone, or go to an employee cafeteria and talk with people, or stroll a floor of a building and connect with people. I make it part of my schedule to do that. This is a value that the company doesn't even realize that it's part of the strong culture that Disney has created. Iger makes an effort to connect with all the employees and make that community feel that they wouldn't necessarily pinpoint that that's what it is, but they value it all the same. So let's just give a quick recap on this organizational culture of Disney. There's the artifacts, which would be the storytelling of the employees on the Disney career website, and the symbol of Mickey Mouse ears himself, or the full character of Mickey Mouse. You have the values, which would be Iger's high standard of excellence that he holds to all employees. And the more basic assumption would be the community created that Iger strives to talk to people in elevators and whatnot.
Great. Thank you for joining us in our journey through Snow White's and the Seven Dwarfs cabin and allowing us to inform you about Robert Iger and the wonderful world of Disney.